faves, how are you? So this is my first time trying this, and I'm not sure that it's going to work at all, but we'll see. Would help if it let me move the camera, but apparently not. Goodness gracious. Okay, well, we're just going to get started and go with that. So we're doing the top 10 things and about being a reseller that I kind of wish I knew more before I got started. And I just want to give people a heads up because it seems like a great idea and it's great fun. And there are parts of it that are great fun, and there's parts of it that are extremely aggravating, and there's parts of it that are really, really, really hard work. So it's really important, I think, to kind of clear the air a little bit. So that's what we're going to do in this. We're going to do it kind of quickly. Feel free to take notes if you want, because class is in session. Okay, so the best part, it's the hunt. A treasure hunt. It is the most fun. Shopping, getting out there, trying to find something really cool and like the perfect resale items. And it's just really fun to find something that's like a holy grail, or that's worth a lot of money, or that's very cool or very unusual. It is just the most fun. It's fun to go check out new thrift shops and new Goodwills, and to go to different places and look at antique malls, and it's all very fun and it's very educational. It's very interesting. It is the best part. But it's also part of the worst part. So, number 2 is the worst part. And the worst part has a long list of problems and things that you need to be aware of. First of all, prices. The prices of goods is up. The prices people want to pay are down. Sales are down. Goodwill prices are up. Thrift shop prices are up. Grocery prices are up. Gasoline prices are up. And you have to be aware of those. eBay fees are up. Postage is up. Everything is up except for sales. So that's one of the first problems and one of the bad parts of this. The second thing is the economy. It is a little bomb waiting to explode. It is problematic. Sales are down all around, including eBay and Poshmark and all these different things. They were way up during COVID because people couldn't go out, so they were shopping online, and that was great for resellers. Now it is not true anymore. In addition to that, you have other factors. There have been glitchinesses with the computer programs and things that we've been running into glitches throughout eBay over the last couple months. And then, of course, just you've got general sales are down. My sales are down 70% since February. Part of that is eBay sales are down about the same amount. So that's something to be very aware of before you venture into this. The next thing in the worst part list is listings. Listings is a job that is part of what you need to do. You'll hear people talk about all the time. They have a death pile or a money pile. Those are lots of things that they bought that they have not listed for sale yet. And if they're not listed, you can't sell them. And if you're not listing things and you're just buying things, that's hoarding. Okay, so we don't want to do that. That is not a business. That's a hobby and not a healthy one. So if you want to be a collector, then be a collector. But if you want to be a reseller, you actually have to put things online and list them, which means you have to look up comps, you have to do research on products, you have to take pictures, you have to post them online, you have to weigh and measure them, you have to have an inventory control plan. You can't just pile them somewhere and hope that you can find them later. You have to wait for people and put up with stupid offers, and you have to put up with scammers, and you have to be very careful you don't make mistakes, and you will. You will have losses, and you will buy things that you can't resell because you didn't look carefully enough. So there's lots of things that go into it. Then, of course, there's cross-posting. Do you want to cross-post? There's more than one selling app. eBay, Facebook Marketplace, Mercari, Depop, The Real, Poshmark. I'm not sure if I said that yet, but I mean, there's lots of different places that you can sell online, and there are cross-posting apps. A lot of people pay and use List Perfectly. I use Flip, which allows you to do Macari and Poshmark, and that's a free service, FLYP. So that's what I personally use right now because I had to put out a lot of money to get started. We'll get into that in a minute, and I just didn't want to put money into another thing right yet. Now I may change my mind if I want to cross post on more things like Etsy. I actually am looking at Etsy because Flip doesn't offer that right now, although they're supposed to be offering it soon. So things to consider. And then we have shipping. Like I said, postage is up, but you also have to buy boxes, bubble wrap, wrapping stuff, tape, and you have to be able to pull orders and find your inventory in your inventory control system. And all these things are the things that are hard work. They're not fun. They're not fun at all. Shopping fun, looking fun, finding fun, everything else not so much fun. It's really hard work, and you need to know that before you get into it. If you think this is going to be a fun little side gig, yeah, there's parts of it that are great fun. There's a lot of things I've learned and that I truly enjoy, but most of those things are more aggravation than they are fun. So keep that in mind. I'm very blessed. My husband helps me with my shipping, so that really is good. That used to be what his business was, so that's a good thing for me. So number 3, be careful. When I say be careful, 99, let's be kind. 80% of what you will find at the Goodwill bins, at the Salvation Army, at the thrift shop, at wherever you're buying goods, unless you're doing retail arbitrage, which is a whole nother thing. That's not what I'm doing, but retail arbitrage is where you buy things on clearance at a retail store and then upsell them on places like Amazon because they're no longer available. And that's you can buy Amazon pallets, anything that's kind of new in the box or new open box that you could resell on eBay or on Amazon, probably more money on Amazon, then that's considered retail arbitrage. But if you're buying things secondhand at yard sales and flea markets and Goodwills and things like that, you need to be extremely diligent and careful about what you're looking at. You need to look at every part of that. Make sure your glasses are good. Bring a magnifying glass. Bring a flashlight because a lot of thrift stores are very dark, kind of intentionally. Okay, they have bad lighting because if you don't see it and you buy it, it's one less thing they have to worry about. And I don't think not all the time they do it, but I did find like many times at Goodwill, and I'm not dinging Goodwill, they will put the sticker over something that's a crack or a defect or something so that you don't see it. And I don't know, I'm not going to say they don't, or they tape it up so you can't tell if there's a chip in something. And I've noticed it's kind of something they do, and I'm not sure if it's intentional or if it's just how it works, but you need to be careful. You need to pull tape off. You need to lift up stickers. You need to look at everything. Because if you spend $5 for an item and then you have to throw it away, then it's $5 that you lost. If you buy something that has holes in it, moth bite, look, you have to look at those little like places where moths ate things. You need to be able to spot cracks. You have to feel for chips inside, outside, on the edges. Usually around the bottom is like the biggest place underneath. The other day, and there's a video, you see me, I picked up this really beautiful vintage platter. There was a huge chip on the underneath side of it. It wasn't visible from the top, but if I didn't feel around and flip it over and look, I would not see it. Also, move your hands. I know it sounds stupid or silly to say that, but when you're holding an item and you're feeling around and you're like, oh, that's good, look under your hand. Because for whatever reason, and this is just weird, but lots of times the chip or the crack or the thing is under your hand and you didn't move your hand out of the way to see it. You put it in your thing, you buy it, you get it home, and you're like, how did I not see that? Because you were holding it in your hand. Okay, so just do your due diligence. Check your hems on jeans and dresses. Make sure they're stitching. Make sure you got all the buttons. Make sure the zippers go up and down. Check the armpits and around the collar for staining. Inside hats for stainings and sweat stains. If it is stained, make sure you can get it out. Some things you can get out. Tar is really hard to get out. Ink is hard to get out. I can get some ink out. But make sure you are careful and wise about what you're doing if you can get the dirt out. If you're going to buy something stained. Broken things can sell on eBay depending on the value and where the break is, and as long as you disclose it, but most things won't. So if you've got to throw it away or you can't sell it, it's a loss. So keep that in mind because that's your money out of your pocket. So be careful. The next thing, number 4, is learn your niche. So I don't have a specific niche. I'm pretty much, if it can sell and it's got value, I'm willing to pick it up. It doesn't have to be, there's things I'm not, like, I don't know a lot about sporting equipment. I don't know a lot about car parts. I don't know a lot about tools. Some tools I know, but I know a little about golf. But there's things that I don't generally pick up that I don't know as much about. I'm not an expert at vintage decor or like tchotchke things. But I know some name brands. I like pottery and art glass. I know how to look for a signature, things like that. But I'm not an expert at everything. And you're going to gravitate towards something. I found I really like plush and toys. I find them fun. And although that's not my necessary niche, I do enjoy picking them up and I do like them. I also find men's clothing easier to source and to know brands than women's clothing, even though I'm a woman. Isn't that weird? But women's brands, there are just so many women's brands of shoes and things that are really good, but there are a lot that are really not good. So it's a harder to learn niche. So you need to do some research, watch videos online. There's lots of resellers that are sharing brand videos and what to buy and the most expensive things to look for and the name brands to look for in jewelry and pottery and art glass and pants and jeans and shirts. And they're online and there's probably hundreds of them. So use that, learn your niche. I will drop a couple names in the box below of people that I watch that I then tell you a little about what they do, because the more you know, the better you can grow your business and you can be successful in buying things. So learn your niche. The next thing is number 5, check comparison prices. So when I say comparison prices, I'm not telling you to look it up online and see what it sells for. You can go on eBay and you'll see people are selling things for hundreds and thousands of dollars, but that doesn't mean they're going to get that for it. What you need to do is you go onto eBay, you search what you're looking for. Say you're looking for porcelain doll Franklin Mint Kayla. Let's just say that's what it is. When you pull that up, you'll see what everybody's got listed and you'll see how many are listed. We'll get to that in a minute. But if you go and look and check off the box for sold items, it'll bring up everything that's sold with that. And then sort that from highest to lowest. And once you sort it from highest to lowest, you'll see the highest price that anybody's paid for something in the last 90 days. In addition to that, you can use different ways on. You can also put that information into TerraPeak research. It's in your research button in your store. Go to research on your store and go look at TerraPeak research, and you can type that description in and it'll bring up everything that's sold in the last year or 2 years. You can look back up to 2 years. And that'll tell you, because sometimes the markets change. So about a year ago, it might have sold for $100 and now it's only selling for $50. But that's okay because you could still probably price it a little bit over $50 because it has sold in the past. But you've got to know your market. You've got to know what's coming up and what's going down, and things go up and down all the time. You can also check other sites like Etsy and Mercari. Some things like Plush will sell more money on Mercari, especially Build-A-Bear, than it will on eBay. And certain things like vintage things will sell more money on Etsy than they may sell on Poshmark or Mercari. So, some clothes sell more on Poshmark than they will on eBay. So you've got to kind of know, but you can look around on all those and see what things are selling for and get a gist of that. And make sure you're listing it appropriately. The other thing you can do is you could pay for sites like WorthPoint is one of them. And it's a little pricey, but it's one of those things that it'll allow you to go back, I think 10 years, maybe 10 years, to see how the cycle of when things paid. This is especially good if you're doing vintage or antiques, because you can see what the market was if the market's down, and you can price accordingly, but you can also know true values of what your things are worth. Because even though the economy's down and some of the things might be worth less money, that doesn't mean that they're doing a collector. They might not be willing to pay up a little bit more to get an item that's hard to find. And this will also help you find things that maybe aren't on eBay right now. I mean, that haven't sold in the last 90 days or the last couple of years, and you can find them on WorthPoint. The other thing you can do if you can't find a comparison is take a picture of your item using your Google Lens. So there's when you go to your search bar, there's a little camera. Hit that. You can take a picture of it, and it'll look for other places that item might have sold, and it might have sold on Cherish. Which, warning, Cherish, very expensive prices because the people selling are going to pay 40% to Cherish, and this is like an antique, vintage furniture, tchotchke, decor kind of site. It can be very good, but the price point difference can be thousands of dollars, and you're not going to get that on eBay. So know your sales formats as well. But always look up your sold prices because it doesn't matter if somebody wants $1,000 for it if it never sells at $1,000. The other thing you need to do is price competitively. It's okay to price in the middle of them, like if you've got stuff selling for 80 and stuff selling for 60 and price somewhere in the middle, 70, 75, be competitive. But don't try to lowball because you're hurting yourself in the long game. You're not winning any battles lowballing, okay? You might sell that item first, but now you've just dropped the price in the market. So if you get another item and you want to sell for more, you're not going to be able to because you're messing with the market. So you always want to stay in the competitive range because you want to keep your market so that you're always making money. Because remember, you're paying for the gas, you're paying for your time, you're paying for all those things. You want to make some of, your time is money. Don't lowball, you're hurting yourself, okay? All right, next thing. Is number 6. Research brands, makers, marks. Use Google Lens if you don't know what it is, even with toys and plush. And like I said, use the online resellers resources. Bolo Buddies always shares every month, several times a month. She posts videos about brands to look out for be on the lookout. Bolo means be on the lookout for things to be on the lookout for that are worth top money. I call them big ROIs, big returns on investment. Those are things that you can find for low prices, but you're going to get a big return for your investment. So the big ROIs are the ones you want to watch out for. Okay, Rebel Reseller is great for vintage toys. And I understand, like, if you reached out to her, she'll answer questions and help you too. She is super knowledgeable. So I'm going to have her link in the bottom too. But there's resellers out there that do men's clothing that have like brand videos. And I sat and wrote down brands when I started doing, because I never heard of some of these California brands. And they have popped up I'm on the East Coast, so they have popped up. So Cool is not in New Jersey, but I found Cool twice. So you have to know your brands. And even so, when you're in a store, if you never heard of a brand, look it up. Because I found a shirt that was worth $80 and it wasn't part of anybody's list of brands. I found shorts that were worth $60 that also weren't on anybody's brand list because these people are in different pockets of countries, so the brands they're looking for may not be here, and the brands we have here still may sell for more money. So always look at your comps and what they're selling for or what they've sold for in the past. Due diligence will make you more money. Okay, number 7. Before I go to 7 though, another thing you can do with researching brand is if you're doing vintage and antique, we just did this today. Go to antique malls and look. You don't have to shop there. Look at their prices, look at what they have, look at how they're pricing it. Not everybody's pricing retail. Some are pricing just below retail. Some are pricing low to get rid of it, but for resellers that might be helpful. But learn the brands that are there. Look at what they look like. Are they marked? Are they not marked? You will learn I called it, I told my husband today, we were doing product research today. I was looking at things that were pretty and cool and interesting and I haven't never seen, and brands I've heard of, but I haven't seen them up close, so that I know when I'm out that this might be a piece of Fenton, or this might be a piece of Murano glass, or this might be some a piece of Hager pottery or another McCoy pottery, and knowing these brands and what they look like, because Hager and McCoy can look alike a little bit. So knowing your brands and knowing what they look like, and knowing the difference between this and this brand and that, and a lot of them do look similar, but like Westmoreland and may look like something that's not marked, but you need to know the difference in the colors and the glazes and the styles and what is good quality. And clothing, you can tell to feel it. Good quality, bad quality. You'll pick it up really fast. This feels really nice, but I don't know this brand. Well, if it feels nice and you don't know this brand, you need to look it up. Okay, so there you go. Number 7, time investment. Do you want to be part-time or full-time? And I'm going to give you a warning here, caveat. I'm part-time. I've been working 60 hours a week on this for months because my part-time turned full-time really quickly. That was not my plan. That was not my intention. But that's why I'm doing this video. I got in. I was over my head right away because it's fun to shop, and had no idea how much work had to be done on the other end until I was already well in. It's fine. I'm very skilled. I worked in finance for 27 years. I have a skill set. I know how to do a spreadsheet. I know how to do inventory control. It was fine. But for some people, it might not be fine. It might be catastrophic. So I really pace yourself. Go start. If you're doing part-time, start small and pick maybe one niche. Say you want to do women's clothing. So pick women's clothing. Do like 10, 15 pieces to start. Get your pictures done, we're going to talk about that in a minute, pictures, posting, and all that stuff done, and get everything listed before you purchase any more products. And if you're going to do part-time, do small batches. Right now I'm doing small batches because I have a lot of inventory, but I still need to do videos. So I'm buying 2 or 3 things at a shot because I have a lot of stuff to list, I have a lot of stuff in inventory, and I don't need to accumulate any more stuff until I start moving inventory. So now I'm doing small, but I should have started that way. So you can go and buy 3 or 4 things, do them, and then move to and then in a week buy 2 or 3 more things. That's fine. And that will allow you to start making money, but it will also allow you to start building your skill set as you go along. So inventory. Inventory is really important. If you do not know how to keep track of your inventory, you are going to be in big trouble very quickly, because the first time somebody wants something and you can't find it and you have to cancel a sale and refund money, it makes you look not very good in the eBay buying community, and you don't want to disappoint customers because you'll have trouble getting more sales. So inventory control is very important. I'm going to tell you how I do my inventory. Now, you do not have to do it this way, and there's lots of people out there. We're working on getting the garage very organized. So once it's better organized, I may show you my inventory control, but I can explain to you how I do it. And it's very rudimentary. When I bring my things in the house, I write them down in a notebook. Like this. And I started at 1, and I listed numbers, and then I write a brief description of the item, and then I write the place I got it from and the price I paid for it, and I leave a space for the price once I look up the thing. So for example, we have, I actually just sold this. Number 805 is a Tommy Bahama extra large quarter zip, embroidered relaxed logo tan sweatshirt. I bought it at Salvation Army for $4.99, and I listed it for $21.95. Okay, and it actually just sold for I took an offer of $18, I think. So I write them all down like this, and then I leave a little bit of a space between the number and the description, because I'm going to write down the number of the bin that I put it in. So my system works very simply. C bins are clothing, P bins are plush, T bins are toys, H bins are hard goods. That's it. They all started at 1 except for hard goods, because I had a hard good bin before I started using a number, so there's an HO bin for hard goods. So if I put this shirt happens to be in C10. Okay, so it's my clothing bin. I just use masking tape on my bins. You can use boxes on the shelves. Like I know people that get the like 24-inch, 10-inch wide shipping boxes, and they tape them up and they use them for their clothes, and they just put the clothes in Ziploc bags and line them up inside the bins and number the bins. You can do it that way. You can use, I'm using plastic totes. I also have some 31 large utility totes that I got clothes in. They're all in plastic bags, so they're not going to have anything, and I just put a piece of masking tape with C10 on the tote, whatever it is, and I have them in the garage. So when the item sells, I can go find it. Now, I don't work out of this book for everything because I'd have to keep looking back and forth, and I can't do that. So all the items that are entered in here, I entered onto a spreadsheet. And the spreadsheet has the number for the item, it has a brief description, it has a size, a color, it has what I paid for it, if I paid tax, and it has what I listed it for, and then it has a little box to check. If it's auction, I put an A in the auction box, so I know I auctioned it, or if I didn't auction it, it went buy it now. And then I have a column for listed, eBay, Poshmark, Mercari, Etsy, Facebook, whatnot, and I check off anywhere I'm listing that item, okay, or where it's being sold. That way I know if something happened on Flip and something didn't get taken down, I know it's listed on other places. Or if I take it down, I know I need to take it off other places. So that's how I keep track of it. And then after it sells, I click the sold box and I highlight it in green to let myself know that that item is gone. It's done. I have a separate sheet on that as well for my income. And on that sheet, I basically copy that information. And then what I do is I take the listed price, the price it's sold for, in case it's different, because I might have taken an offer, and then I take the price I collected for shipping, and then what I paid for shipping, and what my total fees were, and then what my final net was on an item. And you need to know that because those things matter, and knowing what you're making on items will help you to understand what your time cost is and how much you're making every month. And in the beginning, I have a lot of items in my store, but you're not going to make a lot of money because you're a new seller. So you really have to be mindful of your time and money in things. But the inventory. Hi guys. Hi guys, as I'm interrupting this video for a quick moment because I just wanted to point out, as I was putting up these numbers about the amount you make each month versus the hours you work each month, you have to have an idea of how much time you're spending, whether you're keeping track of it in a little notebook or you're kind of keeping track, because you do want to know how much you're making an hour overall. You don't get to control how much you're making all the time and how much is selling. We'll get into that in another video about ways to increase and boost sales. But honestly, you don't control that. The buyers control that. What you can control is your efficiency in sourcing and taking pictures and how much time you're putting into things. I'm putting extra time into videos, and that's money I'm not getting back out necessarily, and that's a decision you want to make. But you can streamline your processes so you're putting in less hours, which will increase your hourly rate. That was just an example I gave you, that if you worked this many hours and you made this much a month, you would only be making around $6 an hour. Obviously, you want to make more than that. It's not worth it. For me personally, my goal hourly rate is about $40 an hour. So that means I need to streamline my systems, and I would need to find ways to increase sales. And those things involve posting more often, cross listing, things like that. So there's a lot of different things that go into boosting your sales, but you can control your hours. So be mindful of your hours. If you like sourcing, it's great. If it's fun for you and that's not considered work to you, that's all good and fine. But remember, everything you buy, in order to make money off it, you have to list, which means you are going to have to do work parts. So just keep track of that, because you don't want to be working more and not really that not earning a good profit for your time. Your time is valuable. So keep track of it and be mindful of it. It's not always going to be the same, but you really do want to work on your big ROIs, because return on investment, the bigger it is, the more money you're making an hour, and streamline your processes and keep them simplified. And I'll have a video about that at another time. Okay, that's what I wanted to wrap about. And now back to the rest of the top 10. Inventory system is really important. If you're not good with a spreadsheet, you can do it on a piece of paper, but I recommend maybe doing a sheet for clothing, like a book for clothing, a book for something else, a book, so you can find things a little easier that way. Because what you need to be able to do, now this number that I done, that's my SKU number. So when you go if you go on my page and you look at my SKU number, you'll see like $7.95, let's say. Well, I can go and I can tell you $7.95 is an okie dokie lovey security blanket with a unicorn on it. Okay? I know right away. I know that's what it is. So I also can tell you that it's in plush number 2. Okay? So I know when I go in the garage, I can go to P2, I can open it and look through it, and I am going to find that lovey because it's in that box. So if you don't do this and they want it and you got 12, 15 boxes you have to go through, it's going to become tedious very quickly. So really get a good grasp on your inventory control. Okay? The next thing you need to understand is number 9. You have to invest money into your business. Now, you don't have to buy inventory. You can use inventory around your house. You can get inventory from friends you can, buy some smalls at like a garage sale and spend a little bit of money just to get started. That's fine. But if you're going in like full time, there's a money investment. You're going to have to spend money on inventory to put in your store. So you need to be aware of that. But not only is it inventory, you have to not just buy items, but you have to buy things to store items in, whether it be boxes or bins or bags or whatever you're doing. You have to buy Ziploc bags, you have to buy tape, you have to buy boxes to ship, you have to buy bubble wrap, and you have to buy tissue paper to wrap things in, and you have to buy postage meter and like something to weigh things on. You have to have a light and a camera to take pictures. You have to have you may want to do some printing. I printed off little cards and had little magnets made with my information on it to give to my customers like as a thank you gift. And you're going to have to pay fees. No matter where you sell, there are fees attached. Some fees are small, some fees, like I said, Cherish is like 40%. So you're going to pay fees. So all these things are money you're putting out. So you got to make sure the money you're bringing in is covering your costs and that you're making money. So that takes keeping track of your income, your net incomes, watching your spends, and being very aware that, it's okay to invest money, it's okay to have money out there, but, if you're doing it on a credit card, there's interest. Like, you have to be mindful. This is your money, and you want to make money. It's a business. Treat it like a business. If you treat it like a hobby, you're going to get your butt handed to you in a very unpleasant way, because you're going to be out money and not making money, and that's never what anybody wants to do. Okay? Last is number 10, to YouTube or not to YouTube. So I am not, as you know, if you've been watching my videos, I am not a YouTube star. Maybe I will be because I'm goofy and weird, but I'm not a YouTube star. And I don't really have a desire to be, honestly, but there are pros to doing a YouTube channel. It does grow your following, it does get you followers, and the followers will go and buy from your store sometimes. They will go and buy from your whatnot sales. So a following can increase your sales a little, but it also can decrease your sales because most people watching know what you paid for the item. And a lot of people have it in their head, if you paid $5 for it, then I should be able to pay $5 for it. Well, I paid gas, I paid time, I walked around and looked for it, I hunted it down, I kept brought it home, I cleaned it, I took pictures of it, I posted them, and that's not how it works. So I try to explain to people, think of yourself as a personal shopper. If you hired somebody to go find an item in the wild for them, like wealthy people will hire a personal shopper to buy them a wardrobe. They don't just pay for the wardrobe. They pay for the personal shopper's time. And that's like $100 an hour. Okay? So don't be embarrassed to charge for your time. Okay? Keep in mind it is business for you. And I understand that people think because you're pricing a product, you're doing your research. We just talked about that. You know what the product is worth in the marketplace. You know what it is sold for in the past because you looked it up. Okay? You know that the person is still getting a good deal on eBay versus if they were buying it at an antique store or if they were buying it at an estate sale. Sometimes it's marked up. So you're getting probably a better deal on eBay most of the time, or you're paying because you won't find it anywhere else, and you're willing to pay that because it's something that's valuable to you. So, YouTube channel can grow your following, but it also, and your customer base, but it also has like the other side. The cons are sometimes it can hurt more than it can help. The one thing you should always do is keep politics and your personal information as much as possible out of the content on your YouTube videos for your business. You will hurt yourself if you get into a disagreement about things that people are passionate about, no matter what it is. It doesn't matter if you're right or wrong. People who disagree with you will stop their subscription. They won't shop you. They will badmouth you because they disagree with you. And it's just the way of the world, especially right now. The world is kind of a little crazy. And although I'm as entitled to my opinion as they're entitled to theirs, unfortunately, when it's business, their opinion can do more harm to your business than good. And you just don't want to do that. So be mindful, okay? And I mean, for the most part, I'm not doing that for this. I'm actually doing this for a very different reason. And I'm willing to share that because I honestly don't care one way or the other about that. But for people that are very concerned about the business part of it, you need to be aware to be careful. So I'm doing this to help get my house in order, quote unquote, and get debt paid down and things like that, because I do have another business called Go Godly Worldwide. And that is a big thing that I am doing. So part of all my sales, 10% of my sales go to my church, 10% go to that business to help grow it. It's going to be a family-oriented, faith-based site, and there's going to be a amazing video game content for children that's educational, scripture-based, and things like that. So that's my heart, that's my passion, that's what I'm doing. If you don't like that, and I'm sorry that you're disappointed if you are, but that's what's important to me. And if you told me what's important to you, I understand. Everybody has something that's important. And I'm not a person that goes around like telling you, oh, you can't do this or you can't do that. So I don't want people to tell me that. But, we're all entitled to our opinions and our beliefs. But it can hurt your business. And if people don't like that or, whatever, for whatever reason, decide they don't like me because I'm doing something like that, they're not going to want to watch the channel. And that's fine for me. But it might not be fine for you. So be mindful. That's all. Okay? The pros of doing it is fun. We can help each other. We can share information. We can show each other what we found. We can, do these kinds of things. And it is helpful because you learn brands, you learn brand recognition, you know what things look like, and you learn some skill sets that maybe you didn't have when you went into this. The cons is it takes extra time and extra effort, which will take you away from the other stuff. Doing videos This part's easy talking to you, like this is easy, but editing videos and taking, like all that takes time. And that was not part of my skill set at all. I had to teach myself. And I'm not, as you see, a young person, although I have skills, and I am computer and tech savvy. Film editing wasn't one of my skills. I'm better at it now. I'm getting there. I've learned how to use this program pretty nicely. I use Filmora. I recommend Wondershare. I recommend it. I pay for it, and I like it. But there are other ones out there, and you do you. But I will share what I like, and I do like it. I think it's pretty easy, and I need it pretty easy. Okay, so 2 bonuses, maybe 3 bonuses, I forget. But bonus number 1. Prioritize your hunt. When you're hunting for things, don't just grab everything that looks pretty, or it looks good, or is a name brand that you recognize. Not everything has high value, although some things are bread and butter. And it's fine to do bread and butter items if you have storage space, if you have lots of time to process that inventory, and if you are able to accumulate some of that. But like clothing is largely bread and butter. There's some pieces that are more expensive, but they largely sell $25 to $40. Okay, so that's not bad money. Don't get me wrong, especially if you're paying $5 or under for the items. But most of it now at Goodwill is about $8. So now that's eaten into those $25 items a little more. So you're going to look for things that are a little more, you can get a bigger return on your money, big ROIs, right? So when you're going out sourcing and you're doing part-time and small, look for things that when you look them up are giving you a bigger return on your money, $40 and up. Because every item that you have in that price range is better income for you as a small person, and you don't have to sell as much to make the same amount of money. Now, if you're doing, and keep in mind, when you do clothes, you have a size, you have a height, you have a type, okay, and you have an item. So the person has to be looking for that kind of item and that brand in that size. And there's a lot of ifs involved in clothing that take clothing a while to move sometimes. There are brands that move quicker, there are brands that move slower. Bigger sizes move faster, but still it's time. And we did talk about the time earlier as being one of the problems in our problem thing. Everything takes time. You have to wait for things to sell. You cannot force it. So look for bigger ROIs, okay? Big ROIs pay the bill just as well as small ROIs do. But they're harder to find. So, but be a little choosy in the beginning, because you can be, okay? Bonus number 2, don't just check the comps on comparison prices. Check the sell-through rate. Now, what is a sell-through rate? Well, a sell-through rate tells you how fast things are moving out of eBay. And I don't know if other sites do this or if you have the access to that information on other sites. I really haven't played around with it. Most of my stuff is on eBay, so I'm most familiar with eBay. But if you go in, when you look up your sold comps, when you can go to the button, when you push the button, you'll see how many items are listed presently of that item that haven't sold. So let's say 1 million items are listed of a Funko Pop, of a frozen Funko Pop, and that's just an example and probably close to accurate. So there's 1 million Funko Pop frozen princesses online, okay? Selling right now for various prices. And 5 have sold. That means your items have to go through 1 million sales before they sell. Which means what? It's going to be sitting for a while. You're going to have that little frozen princess for a long time. Now, if you're a long tail site seller, and a long tail seller means that you're willing to sit on stuff until it sells, that's fine. But what you're looking for are things that sell fast. So look at the sell-through rate. So if the sell-through, the way you can tell if it's a good sell-through, if there's 5 listed and 10 have sold in the last 90 days, that means there's a big demand and a little supply. If it says 100 sold and 100 are listed, that's an even. They're selling almost as fast. So there's a good chance your items are going to move quickly. So you're looking for low amount listed, high amount sold, or same amount sold. And that's good because the more that's sold, the less that are available, the faster your things will move and they will sell through. And that's what you want, fast movers. You don't want the things to stay in your store. But at the same time, do not undervalue your stuff. Use those comps, do what I said, price competitively. Undervaluing your stuff undervalues your time, the money you've output, and the fees are going to eat up. Like I see people listing things online for $2.99. They made no money, none, none. By the time the fees are taken out, by the time they ship it, they and if they're free shipping it, they're going to be losing money. I don't even know who these people are or why they do it. Why would you do that? It's crazy. This is not a yard sale. This is not a flea market. If you want to just sell your stuff and get rid of it, don't do it on eBay. Go to your flea market, do a yard sale, just get rid of it. Take it to Goodwill and donate it. At least it won't be out money. But don't do it this way because this is hurting you and it's hurting other sellers. So it's okay to price competitively. Do not undercut. It is not a race to the bottom. And there are a lot of people that do that. They do the race to the bottom, and that isn't good. Okay, so you don't want to race to the bottom. So that's everything I got for today. I thank you for being in my first official class is in session. And I'm Debbie, Basket Case Mama, Fab Finds. You can find me on eBay, Poshmark, Mercari. I'm going to be on Etsy soon, and I also do Whatnot. I will link below some of my favorite resellers, and that have some great information. Be sure to check them out. Please subscribe and like this video. Give it a lot of love, and share it with your friends that you might be interested in this kind of information. If you like this information and you'd like to see me do more classes and session videos, I will be doing more eventually as I get some other things going. I might do a Big Roy thing for things to look at that are big money returns. I might be doing some just like some brand videos. I'm still building my own knowledge base, so all those things. But this was stuff that I learned the hard way. So I don't want other people to have to go through that. So thank you guys so much for watching. You have a great rest of your day. Bye-bye.